Sure.
I've done many trade shows over the 30 years I've been in business. I've attended many trade shows. We do big expos in Orlando, Dallas, Vegas, Chicago, and I see suppliers do the same thing, and distributors that go attend shows, and they just give away all their money is left on the trade show floor with no result.
Well, I know, Richard, you go to the air shows, which are basically expos.
Yep,
and
you would be going to one in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
And you observe the same thing, that they don't even, one of the things I know, the aviation air shows, when they have the aircrafts, they're expecting that all the attendees are there to buy an airplane, which is like, I don't think so.
They're there to watch. They're there to watch the F-16s and F-18s and all those jets fly by. The rest of it is amusement for 90% of the people that are there. There's 10% that are seriously looking, but you have to get the weed off the shaft first.
Yeah,
and they don't have any.
Really.
Yeah, and they don't have anything set up to make it really work for them, so that they have a good follow-up system in place.
Right.
Well, go ahead. Do I have one?
But I was going to start into one of my major key elements in trade shows, and my number one thing is planning. Plan ahead.
That dirty four-letter word again.
Yeah, that's a dirty word. But most people don't plan. They just go to a trade show and wing it. And they do it on impulse. It's kind of like impulse buying, impulse trade show. And I'm thinking, they don't really think the process of what they could get in the return on their investment if they would plan 6 months in advance or a year in advance and really sit down and look at their plan and their strategic ideas of going to this trade show. And is this their target audience that they're going to this trade show? Is these people going to be their target audience?
That's a really major point there, because I know that there are a number of associations and conferences and such that people are invited to, and of course most people are trying, the event planners are trying to sell sponsorships and vendor tables, and they give you sometimes some false hope that you can be in front of all these people, but being in front of the right people is the key point.
It is. And finding out, how many people's attending that trade show, what type of businesses are attending that trade show, what type of people are attending that trade show. Are they going to be your ideal target audience?
So what are some questions you should ask yourself when you're planning that trade show or your next event that you're going to be showcasing at a booth?
Well, when preparing, number one question, what's the purpose of the show? I think people don't think about it. They don't think of the purpose of attending that trade show. Is it your ideal audience? And what type of return investment are you looking for? And another thing is the objective of attending. What's your objective of attending?
Oh, I want to walk out with a couple $100,000 in sales.
Well, that's it. I mean, you need to set the goal of what you're looking for when you're going to that. How much are you going to be looking for in return on your investment? Because you have a large investment you're making. Some of these shows are very, very expensive. They're not $700 or $800 shows. They're $10 and up.
Exactly.
So you want to make sure that you know your objective and what you're planning on getting at it. And what do you hope to accomplish with your promotional giveaways that you select? Are they the right type of giveaways for this audience that you're going to? And does it match up with your branding and what you do and your products and services?
Yeah, I see a lot of times at trade shows, you walk up and they have the pens, they have the candy, they, the same old, but really what is that? Is there a strategic thought behind that actual giveaway?
Yeah. And you want to know how many people's attending that trade show.
Very good point.
Because if you have a large audience coming by your booth and you're understaffed, you could be overwhelmed. And then you're missing business because you didn't staff your booth with enough people.
Yeah, we've been in a situation like that over a trade show we went at Tampa one time. We had a tremendous turnout, more than what the promoters were even thinking about, and there was a lot of stuff that was going on, and a lot of people, not only just us, but a lot of the big corporations ran out of handouts, flyers, and everything else that was there.
Well, and one of the things Richard and I have learned along the years is we do speak at a lot of these different expos, and we need to start thinking about, okay, when we're in the presentation room, who's manning our booth? We've left it vacant before, and we've learned that's just not the right thing to do. So always make sure your booth is manned as well.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I've been talking about already is, are these people that are attending your trade show buyers or clients? Okay. Are all your buyers or your clients? And a big question we want to ask ourselves is, every single time, what has been your past return on your investment for these shows?
So when you
looking at it and see how many leads have you got, how much revenue have you brought in from these trade shows, how many of these leads have you got have turned into customers?
So what I'm hearing is you need to make sure that after the event you have a time blocked out on your calendar to assess that show. So that
assess it. And if you've been going to that show, what has been your return on your investment? You might want to rethink that in your planning and go, well, this hasn't been a show that I've gotten business from. It's been very slow, not much traffic. Maybe they didn't promote the trade show. That's the thing.
Yeah, we've been to some various franchise trade shows before, and we went to a couple of them, and it didn't take us long to figure out that the people that were in there were looking for franchises. They weren't looking for marketing.
Right.
On that setup. Now, I won't say it was a total waste, but it wasn't an optimal situation for what we were in at that point in time. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
You've got to be congruent in everything from A to Z.
Right. And you can also, another thing I look at too is, if this trade show is a good fit and it's the type of thing where you might want to have a promotional theme for your trade show.
Give an example of that. How would you do that?
Well, I'm going to give you an example. We're all short-staffed right now. Getting employees and keeping them is the main thing in our businesses now. Mm-hmm. And finding qualified employees. So this company, this is just a case history study. They were exhibiting at an event where they were hiring recipients, recruiting. Okay, it was a recruiting trade show. Mm-hmm. And the company selected a theme. It says, it's a jungle out there. And the first part of their promotion involved a 3-part pre-show mailing to all potential reps. And these mailings featured jungle graphics, a copy which tied in with a theme, appropriate promotional products, invitation to the show, and promises of prizes. And their booth carried the theme forward by being decorated like a jungle. And it had foliage. It had 150-plus jungle animals, jungle sounds, and their booth personnel were in safari clothes, branded with their company logo. And, of course, a new product line on display. Mm-hmm. So that made a major impact for this business because the results was phenomenal. The results were 280 out of 300 target reps to visit that booth. And the company selected and signed 95 reps as a result of this program. And this company gave the company 100% national coverage, so there's no need to do another recruit program for their new line.
Just by going through those planning stages and being thoughtful, and obviously their booth probably was the one that stood out the most.
Right. And that's branding stands out, your trade show booth and your themes. It's attracting your audience. Just getting them in there can get you your business, and not displaying products, but really looking at the booth and what it can do to attract that client that really is interested in your products or services.
How about promoting your booth, or to people online on social media, maybe through email, so that you can actually invite them?
Yes, and this is something I like to do with my clients, and I recommend this in the planning to start out, is to do a direct mail piece.
Oh, yep. Good idea.
Yeah, do a direct mail piece and send a VIP recognition buttons and attach them to a postcard with a trade show booth number, so they know where your booth number is, the location of the event, and tell your customers and prospects that they wear the button when visiting your booth, they'll receive a nice gift. But these are customers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
you're getting your customers in there, and this way you're driving traffic to your booth because you took the time to target those accounts and made the client and the prospect feel what? Important.
Came that VIP pin. It sounds like that
Yeah,
button. I
that
love it.
VIP pin. Yeah, yeah. So direct mail is a really good way to drive traffic, because people see people going to your booth and they go, well, I don't want to be left out. What are they doing over there? You know, you're kind of putting that pressure on them, but it makes other people step into the booth that may not step in. If they see a lot of traffic going over there, they're going to come to your booth.
Yeah, I know when we were doing our stuff in the franchise expos and stuff, the first year we put all our handouts on a table right up front. And we realized that we went through a lot of paper, but not a lot of results. So then the next year we went, okay, let's put that table for all the goodies at the back of the booth, where they actually have to walk into the booth, and put some chairs around where people can sit down. Totally different level of acceptance. And we had a lot of traffic that wasn't there, that wasn't for us, but nonetheless, we had that 10% that we were looking for.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Richard, because a lot of times that's what people do. They put their table right out front, and it's like a barricade.
Yeah.
You're standing behind it, and that's just like putting a barricade up.
Yep.
You're not welcoming them in, and you're not giving that friendly approach. So if they have to come into the booth, it's better to put it in the back and you be up front, than sending that warm welcome and send that handshake and say, hey, how can I help you? What is it that you're looking for? How can I bring value to this this position, you know?
Well, one of my biggest pet peeves at trade shows, and I know that myself in the beginning, before I really understood my purpose of being at a trade show, is seeing people sitting down behind their table and just waving to people as they come by, and like you say, handing out items. They don't, again, Richard and I make sure that one of us is always out front, where the other one is, walking around the trade show or, the expo, and, meeting other people. In fact, I know that's one of your trade show tips is, if you want to share with our audience, how do you divide and conquer at trade shows? What are some of your recommendations?
Well, and I want to add to your point about you talking about integrating marketing campaigns. Social media is so powerful. If you're going out to another state to do a trade show, why not use your social media and let people know you're there?
Yeah.
Put your booth number out there. Put it out. Put your business out there. Let them know you're going to be in that area. Hey, come by. I'll have a free gift for you if you spend 2 minutes with me, and let's get to know one another.
Yeah, taking pictures of your booths and putting them out on Instagram and maybe doing a Facebook Live or something like that. It's just there's so many unique things you can do today that were not available to us years ago, but now there's no excuse.
Yeah, there's something that I just ran across this week that I think would really be advantageous, as I heard this, is that women, especially young women, are taking more